Welcome friends. In today's tour, we're stepping inside a tiny house that redefines sophistication with every inch. This isn't just a small space, it's a masterclass in blending old-world charm with modern living. Imagine a space where antique mirrors, vintage frames, and elegant woodwork meet efficient design and compact luxury. Whether you're a tiny house enthusiast or a lover of vintage finds, this episode will inspire you with thoughtful, classy details at every turn. Let's begin with the first impression, the exterior of this charming little gem. From the very first look, this tiny house captivates with its classic exterior. A muted, cream-clabbered facade, topped with a charcoal gabled roof, instantly evokes farmhouse nostalgia. The porch is petite yet polished, adorned with wrought iron sconces and a vintage mailbox. Window boxes overflow with seasonal florals, hinting at the love and attention given to every detail. This isn't your average minimalist tiny house. It's warm, welcoming, and full of vintage charm that stands out without shouting. The foundation and stairs are wrapped in aged red brick, giving the structure an old-world groundedness. Reclaimed wood accents on the trim and shutters were salvaged from a 1920s barn, adding authenticity and a story to the bones of the house. These rustic elements are polished, not raw, creating that classy, lived-in feel without looking run down. This harmony between vintage and refinement is a central theme we'll see carried throughout the home. Adding to the exterior's vintage appeal, the lighting has been thoughtfully curated. Hanging lantern-style lights flank the front door, their oxidized bronze finish casting a soft golden glow in the evenings. These aren't just functional, they evoke a timeless, almost European charm. It's this level of detail that makes this tiny house feel more like a jewel box than just a downsized dwelling. Stepping inside, we're immediately greeted by a narrow but stunning foyer. The vintage-style wallpaper, soft ivory with faded damask patterns, sets a tone of old-world elegance. A small antique hall table with spindle legs hosts a crystal lamp and a bowl of skeleton keys. Above it hangs a gold-framed mirror from the 1930s, reflecting light and history in equal measure. This isn't just an entryway, it's a statement. The living area is compact yet grand in its aesthetic. Velvet tufted seating in a dusty rose hue brings comfort and glamour. An antique steamer trunk doubles as a coffee table, and a vintage globe bar sits in the corner, a nod to a bygone era of travel and curiosity. A petite built-in bookshelf displays leather-bound classics, while brass sconces add ambient lighting. This space oozes character and invites you to stay a while. What makes the living room feel luxurious despite the size is the attention to texture. Lace curtains with embroidered edges drape the windows. Woven throws and needlepoint cushions add softness. Even the area rug, a distressed Persian, contributes layers of visual warmth. These vintage textiles have been collected over years, each adding personal history and tactile richness to the room. Even in a tiny home, this design doesn't skip the charm of a fireplace. A compact electric fireplace with a carved Victorian mantel is the heart of the living area. It's surrounded by candles, vintage brass fireplace tools, and a small oil painting above that pulls everything together. On chilly evenings, this nook becomes the soul of the home, where you can sip tea and read by flickering light. The kitchen is an absolute showstopper. Cabinetry painted in a warm sage green contrasts with white marble countertops. Antique brass hardware, a farmhouse sink, and a restored 1950s gas stove bring together utility and nostalgia. The backsplash is made of Moroccan-style tiles with a faded floral motif, blending perfectly into the color palette. Every drawer and cupboard is meticulously planned, proving that beauty and function can truly coexist. Above the kitchen shelves, you'll find vintage glass jars with handwritten labels, a copper teapot, and even a wooden spice rack from the 1940s. These aren't replicas, they're lovingly sourced antiques that serve both decorative and practical purposes. Tiny houses require efficiency, and this kitchen masters it with storage solutions that double as stylistic statements. Adjacent to the kitchen sits a dainty dining nook featuring a fold-down walnut table and two spindleback chairs. An antique chandelier with dangling crystals hangs above, casting soft reflections during meals. A collection of mismatched vintage plates is displayed along a picture ledge, offering personality and charm. This is the kind of nook that invites long breakfasts and candlelit dinners. Underfoot, original reclaimed pine floorboards creak ever so slightly with each step, each mark and scratch whispering tales from their former life. The floors have been sanded and resealed for durability, but their imperfections are embraced, not erased. They tie together the vintage design story from room to room. Instead of a standard ladder, the access to the sleeping loft is via a handcrafted staircase with built-in storage and an aged cherrywood finish. Brass rails and small antique knobs turn functional steps into a statement piece. It's both sculptural and practical, another example of how this home elevates every square inch. The sleeping loft is a dreamscape. A full-size bed sits under the pitched roof, surrounded by soft linen bedding in muted tones. The ceiling is painted a pale robin's egg blue, and an antique chandelier hangs just low enough to feel luxurious. Windows on either side are framed with lace, allowing for both privacy and light. A small bookshelf holds old love letters and journals, giving the space a poetic feel. The bedside features a repurposed cigar box used as a jewelry case, an old carriage clock, and a petite lamp with a milk glass base. Tiny details like this make the bedroom feel like a page out of an old novel. Despite the small footprint, the emotional impact of this space is massive. It's serene, soulful, and deeply personal. Downstairs, the bathroom offers a blend of Victorian and farmhouse vibes. A clawfoot tub, just large enough for a soak, sits proudly by the window. The sink is a vintage wash basin repurposed with modern plumbing. Framed botanical prints, a gold-framed mirror, and open shelving with rolled linen towels make this tiny bathroom feel like a European boutique spa. Throughout the home, lighting is never an afterthought. From crystal chandeliers to antique bronze reading lamps, every fixture adds ambience and history. Even the switches and wall plates were chosen for their vintage design, small choices that together create a consistent, classy theme. One of the biggest challenges in tiny living is storage, but here, it's solved with elegance. A roll-top desk acts as both a work area and filing cabinet. A vintage wardrobe painted ivory with gold inlay holds clothing. Even the ottoman opens up to reveal hidden compartments. These aren't just clever, they're beautiful. Instead of generic wall decor, this home showcases real vintage artwork, sepia-toned photographs, still life oil paintings, and calligraphy samplers. Each piece has a story, whether inherited or thrifted, and adds to the collected over time feeling. The art doesn't match, it relates, giving the space soul without overwhelming the eye. A small corner between the loft stairs and the window has been turned into a charming reading nook. A tufted vintage armchair, a floor lamp with a beaded fringe, and a side table made from a repurposed sewing machine base make this the coziest corner in the home. It's proof that no space is too small for a little magic. Lush greenery brings life to the interior, but not in plastic pots. Instead, trailing ivy and rosemary sprigs are planted in teacups, copper pots, and enamel pitchers. This approach not only saves space but reinforces the vintage aesthetic in a whimsical, organic way. Even scent plays a role here. The home is subtly infused with essential oils, lavender, cedarwood, and bergamot. Candles in vintage tins and potpourri bowls crafted from dried roses and cloves evoke the comforting aroma of a bygone era. It's not just a visual experience, it's sensory and immersive. A hidden Bluetooth speaker plays soft jazz and classical music through the day. The homeowner curated a playlist of vintage vinyl sounds digitized for everyday listening. This small touch adds an atmosphere that's both cinematic and soothing, supporting the classy vintage vibe. This home isn't just about pretty decor, it reflects a deeper lifestyle philosophy. The homeowner wanted to create a sanctuary where the past is celebrated and simplicity is honored. Antique pieces weren't chosen for trendiness but for emotional connection. It's a reminder that home isn't about size, it's about soul. Thank you for joining us on this elegant tour of a tiny home filled with vintage treasures and timeless charm. From the reclaimed wood porch to the chandelier-lit loft, every detail in this space whispers stories of the past, while supporting modern, intentional living. It's proof that living small doesn't mean living without beauty, comfort, or grace. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring tours, and let us know which vintage touch was your favorite. Until next time, stay inspired.